Look, 2020 was nothing short of a strange year, and as it nears its end, we're shaping up for an even stranger NBA season. The bubble pushed the season start date back deep into December for the first time in league history. The length of the season will be decreased by 10 games as well. It's because of these adjustments that the NBA offseason was compressed into just 1 week, essentially. And that's where I come in, to bring to you the best free agent signings of the 2020 NBA offseason. And it starts with arguably my favorite basketball player ever, DeMarcus Cousins. He signed a 1-year non-guaranteed contract with the Houston Rockets. Don't forget, Carmelo Anthony signed a short-term non-guaranteed deal with Portland, and yeah, a lot of people owe him an apology now. I get it, the elephant in the room is Boogie's health, but if he's out there, he's gonna ball regardless. If his prime lasted a few years longer, he'd be in Hall of Fame discussions by now. For 4 straight seasons, he was one of 3 to 5 players to block at least 90 shots and steal the ball at least 100 times, or block at least 100 shots and steal the ball at least 90 times. And in all of those seasons, he was top 5 among centers in points. For 2 seasons, he led all centers in isolation points scored. For 3 seasons, he led all centers in drives and points and assists off of the drive. Not to mention, he was top 5 in assists among centers from 2013 to 2017. In his career, he's made almost 50% of his attempts from the post, and he was top 3 in free throws attempted there for 3 straight seasons. And don't let the percentages fool you. When he added the 3-ball in 2015, he was top 5 in 3-pointers made and attempted among centers for almost 3 straight years. Sticking to the topic of 3-balls, one of my favorite signings is Washington retaining Davis Bertans. They gave this flamethrower 5 years for $80 million, and rightfully so. He's quietly one of the most unguardable players in the league and redefines three-point range. He made a most improved player caliber jump from his 3rd to his 4th season and earned this contract only starting 4 games last year. Although the schedule was cut short at game 54 for Washington, this increased workload translated to career highs in points, field goals made and attempted, 3-pointers made and attempted, and usage percentage. Washington gave him the green light to shoot whenever and wherever. He was responsible for over 40% of Washington's 3-pointers made. What's even crazier is that he made 18 of 24 attempts that were 30 to 34 feet from the basket. He made 40% or more of his catch and shoot threes in every season of his career and had the 2nd most makes in 2019 there. He hit more pull-up threes this year than in all 3 of his first seasons combined. This was no surprise for Washington to re-sign him, but damn, I was speechless when I saw Trez sign with the Lakers. Apparently, the Clippers didn't want him that badly, and if that's the case, shame on them. Montrezl Harrell is an absolute dog, and the fact that you can count on him for about 8 made shots a game and 20-plus relentless minutes of energy on defense and the boards makes him so valuable. The Lakers gave out 2 years, $19 million to a guy that's ranked top 10 in the NBA for field goal percentage for 3 straight seasons. In fact, he's never shot below 58% from the field. He's had 4 consecutive seasons shooting over 60% there. Really, anything within 15 feet of the basket is his. He converts a lot of his shots in the paint, and he features an entire toolbox of moves and shots to keep defenders honest. But if it's one thing I love about Trez, it's that dog in him. This is his 2nd straight season ranking top 10 in the NBA for putback points, charges drawn, box outs, and second chance points scored, which perfectly encapsulates the type of player that he is. Last season, he surrendered the 4th lowest field goal percentage to opponents out of 211 players that played at least 40 games. Trez is an absolute menace everywhere on the floor, and his presence on the reigning championship Lakers will be frightening. A new face in a new spot that I'm thrilled to see is Christian Wood. 3 years, $41 million for the Unicorn Big. In his first full season of ball, he set set career highs in everything. With an expanded role in Detroit last year, he scored 22 points a game, 41% from 3, 56 from the field, and grabbed 9 boards in his last 15 games. Although he was towards the back end of the top 20 for pick and roll man points scored, he registered the second highest points per possession, the third highest field goal percentage, and the second highest free throw frequency for roll men. He's dangerously productive in the pick and roll, but has a wet jump shot too. 38.6% on 143s attempted last year and 40.4% on 100 catch and shoot threes. Him and Harden could be an unguardable lethal duo in pick situations, and Wood is a self-creator at 6'10". He made 70% of his attempts in the paint last year and can take flight from anywhere. And if we're talking about taking flight, let's look at Derrick Jones in his new home, Portland. Airplane mode got 2 years, $19 million. He's progressed as a shooter in every season, and Portland gets youth, insurance, and depth with this signing. He's great off ball, as 62.2% of his points last year came in transition or cutting to the basket. Although his three-point percentage last year would indicate a shooting regression, he just took a higher volume of threes. And with this higher volume, he set a career-high number of makes. He can be a good find in both corners, where over half of his career three-pointers attempted were. Jones is particularly a low-usage player, but has the switchability and frame to defend multiple positions. He's really versatile on the defensive end and garnered around the same amount of blocks and steals in almost every season. He fortifies Portland's bench in what was a fantastic offseason for the Trailblazers. And another team that had an excellent offseason was the Minnesota Timberwolves. They brought back sharpshooter Malik Beasley on a 4-year, $60 million contract. Beasley is a fluid shooter with a quick release, and he's only 23 years old. He's had 2 incredible shooting seasons, which equates to a 39.6% three-point percentage on over 600 attempts. He scored more points in a 14-game span with Minnesota last year than in his entire 62-game season in 2017. He's an underrated help defender, and you can run him or D'Lo around Karl Anthony Towns screens, and defenses have to pick their poison. Another guy that torches defenses with his floor spacing is Danilo Gallinari. Atlanta added him to a young and exciting core for 3 years, $61+ million. And I know that this is the World Cup, but watch how effortlessly he gets buckets. Gallo is the perfect embodiment of the modern day stretch big at 6'10". He's taken over 5 or more three-pointers a game in 7 of his 11 seasons. Gallo is growing an increasingly more efficient shooter, as the past 2 seasons have resulted in his second and third most field goals made and 2 highest true shooting percentages. He's an acrobatic shot creator and scored almost the same amount of points in the pick and roll as a ball handler and as a roll man. Third in the NBA for spot-up points scored last year too. Another player from the West that found a home in the East is new addition to the Milwaukee Bucks, Bryn Forbes. He got a 2-year contract from the Milwaukee Bucks, who completely bolster their bench. He's a career 40% three-point shooter and can go nuclear from deep on any given night. Forbes is a reliable catch and shooter and can hit moving threes, which is the perfect complement to Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's also only just 27 years old, which leaves some room for improvement. San Antonio did lose Forbes, but they were able to keep Jakob Poeltl on a 3-year, $27 million contract. Poeltl is a defensive anchor that keeps opponents to below league average at the rim. He has great basketball IQ, which he demonstrates through staying out of foul trouble and defensive communication. He's been a positive net rating player in every season of his career. He's good on the offensive boards, and he's very skilled around the rim. He ranked 14th in the NBA last season in screen assists, which indicates that he's a huge value to the Spurs offense. Last but certainly not least is one of the newest additions to the Detroit Pistons, Jerami Grant. Detroit gave him $60 million for 3 years, and he most definitely earned this contract. Grant is a phenomenal athlete, which is on display whenever he cuts to the basket or has the ball in transition. Though that's where he's most effective, he came a long way from college and his first 2 seasons with Philly and developed into a consistent catch-and-shoot 3-ball shooter. He's also a fearless defender that can guard 3 through 5 at a very high level. All right, man, that does it for me. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys when I see you guys, and remember, stay solid.